I can't even. You wrote an article about free speech, put it behind a paywall on the website that caused the adpocalypse. I can't think of a more you might be thinking, this actually hurts my brain to explain. Susan Wojicki, the CEO of YouTube, wrote provided content for, placed behind a paywall, the Wall Street Journal, which is responsible for the adpocalypse, destroying thousands of creators and their and causing financial ruin. Behind a paywall on the Wall Street Journal, you put this article about free speech. Let's get into it. You know, I often talk about how thankful I really am, and I mean it when I say this, for the opportunity that YouTube as a platform has given me as a creator. You, the viewer, allowing me into your life in 10-minute segments multiple times a day is one of the most humbling and amazing things that has ever happened to me, and I'm so very thankful for all of you. The problem is, as a platform, YouTube continues to let us down as creators, outright betray us, provide zero information on policy changes, ban people outright with no explanation, allow channels to be hacked and removed and deleted without protecting creators, allowing for systematic deplatforming by the mainstream media for channels that they don't like because they are taking their jobs. They took our jobs. This is something that I don't think Susan Wojicki will ever understand, because when she hangs out with YouTubers, it's people like James Charles, not people like you or me, not regular people grinding away every day. Sure, these are not fears that somebody, say for example, that makes cat videos might have about the future of their channels. But if you talk about anything that may be considered controversial, which, by the way, is a moving target, you live with this fear. It's the number one reason I have a subscribe star, and I'm so thankful for the people that back me there, because without that, I would be stressing constantly about, you know, the future of my employees. You know, it's not just me for this channel. I have somebody who handles all my sponsorships and ad reads, and Maggie, Ben, my thumbnails, and Sean does all my meme intros, not to mention other people behind the scenes that help me keep my day job going so I can dedicate more time to this. Watching Susan Wojicki write a paywalled article about free speech, on the website responsible for the adpocalypse, something that caused mental anguish and financial ruin for thousands of creators on this platform, to write a paywalled article about free speech on the website that caused the adpocalypse would seem like something only a monster would do. You might think to yourself, there's no way that the CEO of YouTube would write a paywalled article on the Wall Street Journal, the website responsible for the adpocalypse, essentially helping the Wall Street Journal profit. But she did. The topic of the video, the topic of the article, even more hilarious, given that it's about free speech and corporate responsibility coexisting online. Look, I don't believe in corporate responsibility as they define it. You know what the corporation's responsibility is? It's very clear. Maximize profit to the shareholders. That's what corporations are supposed to do. In short, make money. But Susan Wojicki just tweeted out, by the way, I even ratioed her. As CEO of YouTube, I see important issues around free expression and responsibility every day. Today in the Wall Street Journal, I wrote about 3 principles that should guide discussions about the regulation of online speech. You can't talk about having free speech principles and then regulation of online speech in the same sentence, but she did it. I mean, she actually pulled off a paid article in the Wall Street Journal about free speech, and then talks about regulating that speech and corporations' responsibilities to regulate that speech. I can't stress to you enough how mind-blowing this is. how absolutely mind-boggling this would be to exist, but it does. Some of the replies. Really? The Wall Street Journal? Susan is working with YouTube's enemy? WTF, here's some black guy. Oh, cool. The people that caused adpocalypse. If this ain't sleeping with the enemy, I don't know what is. What? I mean, are you talking to the people who literally called the adpocalypse in the first place? Not just talking to them, helping profit for them. Because this article is behind a paywall. And when it's behind a paywall, that means that you drive profit for them. Luckily, archive.is exists, and I can find an archived version of this article because I want to make sure that I view the article in a place that keeps it in its original form. Free speech and corporate responsibility can coexist online. I mean, I guess, but again, what do you define as corporate responsibility? Because we know that YouTube defines corporate responsibility as it would feel like, squashing any conversation, say, for example, around what's going on with people's health out there right now. Even though the CDC is allowed to change their mind a million times, private citizens or even doctors can't because they are systematically removed or banned from the platform. This is not limited to that type of stuff. We could talk about how, certain political opinions are silenced or, shadow banned on this platform. It's ridiculous. When I was growing up, every time I wrote a letter to my grandfather, I worried it might be censored. Why? My father had fled communist Poland for the U.S., but my grandfather was unable to escape, and I still lived behind the Iron Curtain. I learned very young that it can be dangerous when government reaches too far. But that seems so this just feels, as a creator, Susan, like the biggest slap in the face I can possibly imagine. As CEO of YouTube, I grapple every day with the issues related to free expression and responsibility. Companies, civil society, and governments are facing unprecedented challenges, and sorting these complicated questions, determining where to draw the lines of speech in the 21st century, there shouldn't be any. Policymakers around the world are introducing regulatory proposals and argue that too much content is left up on platforms, while others say too much is taken down. At YouTube, we're working to protect our community while enabling new and diverse voices to break through. Voices of your choice, right? Voices of the correct political opinions. We all remember, the random van life channel that got freaking 10 million subscribers overnight that people were saying that they were automatically subscribed to and suddenly was getting recommended, thrown down everybody's throats. We all remember the all sorts of shenanigans. I don't think there's any doubt in creators' minds that that whoever's voices are allowed to shine through. This is a hand-picked group of people. It's something that you yourself have admitted, that the trending page, for example, is curated content, meaning that you handpick what's actually on trending, which is hilarious because it actually is the anti-definition of trending. You're taking something that is inorganic and saying that it's important, when the very definition of trending means that it's popular by organic reasons. It's ridiculous. YouTube has always had community guidelines that set the rules of the road. We remove content that could cause real harm. Fine. Copyright infringement, also fine. Dangerous pranks. Yeah, you can make the argument for that at least, or at least age gating them. I would have I wouldn't have much of a problem if you age gated them, because you don't want kids like shipping themselves in luggage or whatever, like these pranksters are doing. But, at the same time, we embrace the inherent complexity and messiness of the internet. Stripping away everything that's controversial could silence important voices and ideas. Well, I'm glad you're saying that, Susan, but golly, it sure feels like that's not like the actual way that things get done. And maybe you'd be open to a sit down. And I realize that I'm coming across harsh in this video, but Susan, I don't see you spending any time with creators that have ever had anything negative to say about the platform. In our little creator dashboard, I see you doing these fluff interviews with with creators like James Charles, which, by the way, has his own problems, and somebody else you did, I forget, not that long ago. Why don't you sit down and talk to somebody who has real concerns about the platform? It doesn't have to be me, although I would absolutely love to just have 15 minutes of your time to talk about what it's like to be a creator who feels like they're on the outside looking in, and you know what it feels like to see somebody like James promoted and getting your time when this dude has, let's just say, a very suspicious history and reason to be concerned. I don't understand how you thought doing this article was a good idea. I mean, you understand that when Adpocalypse happened, it ruined people's lives, right? There are probably people out there, and I don't mean to be hyperbolic, but just statistically, there are probably people that ended their lives over the Adpocalypse. Like, you understand that, right? So as a creator, when I see you helping the Wall Street Journal profit by giving handwriting, by the way, not giving an interview too, but actually providing literal content for the New York Times, it's extremely infuriating as a creator on your platform, a platform that I'm so very thankful for. But seriously, Susan, come on, you got to be better than this.